My name is Jake. I'm a certified health coach, nutritionist, and really just someone that is passionate about holistic health and wellness. And when I say holistic, I mean like looking at health from every perspective, from your breath to your blood to your food to everything, right? Because like we can be really solid in the gym or we can be really solid with our food. But if you're missing any of those different tools, like I said, breath or, blood or stretching or all these things, you're going to feel the effects of that. You're going to feel less than your best. So, as much as I think there's a push for like specific things, right? Like get on this specific diet or this specific workout plan or whatever, I don't look like a jacked, guru who's in the gym every day, 10 hours a day, because I'm not. I'm looking at health from a holistic, perspective. I want people to look at me, be able to say, okay, this is what health is. This is how it is to be healthy. And health is easy. And a lot of what I do and talk about is trying to simplify health and making it less ambiguous and less ominous and less intense, just making it easy for everybody.
Right. And I think what you mentioned there about health is simple, it really is almost like we've created this society and like the way that we work, the way that we go to school, the way that we like to entertain ourselves and relax and go on vacation and what we do there. It's all kind of like been, whether you're a conspiracy theorist and think it's been constructed
Yeah.
for like on purpose, or whether it's just been, it ended up like this. It's so weird how it's all kind of like going against what is natural, what
Right.
is best for us, physically, mentally, all the
Mhm.
different layers. When you really think about health, it's almost breaking things down into just like the basics and kind of going backwards a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. If health isn't easy, you're not going to do it, right? If health is overcomplicated and you have all kinds of plans and systems and things you want to do, and it's too hard for you, you're not going to do it. Even I have clients who want to start with like a gym program. Okay, let's get to the gym 5 days a week. Like, bro, you don't go at all. You don't go to the gym 1 day a week. How are we going to start doing 5 days a week from zero? That's just not how it works, right? So of course you want that, and please, like, let's write down goals. Let's write down everything you want. I want to go to the gym 5 days a week. I want to weigh 165. I want to do like, right, whatever you want. Let's start with that, but then let's talk about what is actually possible, right? And of course, anything is possible. I know that, but realistically, we have jobs, we have kids, we have things to do, we have friends, we want to do other activities, right? So if you don't make health fit within your life, you're just trying to like force things that you're never going to do.
Right. And I think it feels like to me that like as we get into like a more technological age and like more of a sedentary lifestyle kind of age that we're in, our body, it seems to be like less useful in terms of like productivity and things like that. It almost feels like you have to try harder to do what is better for you, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It's so, and how we've gotten here is because we've had such incredible advancements with medicine and such incredible advancements with food. And I mean, like, honestly, like, things like seed oils, when they first came out, they're revolutionary. They're so cheap. They're so effective. They can replace all these other ingredients, right? And it's like, okay, well, great. It's better. It's better. It's better. Well, data comes out and it's not better. Okay. Well, now we're at a place where we had all these things happen. We've all these advancements, all this technology, all this new medicine, all this new food. And now, like you said, we've kind of gotten so far away from what's just natural because we're able to eat this synthetic food and use this synthetic pill with this synthetic thing, and it's all working, but not synergistically, not the way it's supposed to work. So it's just, getting back to that, what is basic, what is normal life, how, like, what does that even look like? That's kind of the goal, I think, right now.
Yeah. And I think people as a whole forget, and they have forgotten what the human experience truly can be like in a healthy way. It's like people have these expectations that like, okay, my dad, when he was 40, he started to like really physically slow down. When he was 50, he really wasn't doing too much. 60, he's kind of having trouble getting around, and everything else from there was just completely downhill. And I don't, the crazy statement to me is when people say, I don't want to live till I'm 90, because people have this preconceived notion of what 90 looks like, or what even 70 looks like, or what, having a heart attack at 55 has somewhat become normal, and all that kind of stuff. But I think people have truly forgotten and don't really know anymore what the human experience can be like
Yeah.
when we are healthy.
Well, we've like you said, we've come so far away from it. It's just, it's, what does that even look like anymore? You know, when it comes, even like simple things, you know, I was talking to someone the other day about, tinnitus, you know, the ringing in your ears or whatever. And everyone seems to have some type of tinnitus now, right? Everybody can hear ringing, can hear things, whatever. And I was just theorizing with this person about how I wonder if it's less hearing loss and more that there's so much electricity and so much, you know, energy, like literal real energy from, you know, cell towers and Wi-Fi and, you know, everything. I have big lights on me right now, right? So it's like energy everywhere. Are we just hearing energy? You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of a theory, but like I wonder how many problems we experience that are just like, oh, we have so much technology. That's literally what's creating the problem for us. You know, is the technology. It is the advancements, you know?
Yeah. And I think that, when you talk about just something as basic as like your ears,
Mhm.
I'm so guilty of having like an AirPod in all day long,
Yeah.
just one and constantly either just having it in or listening to a podcast or having, music turned down really low
Yeah.
just throughout the day or whatever that is. But like how that even could possibly have, effects on your health or just on your own, psychology a little bit. Cause it's kind of like, bringing you into your own world. It's shutting you out from everybody else, and it's like a little distancing there.
Yeah, dude, even like presence, like how often are you actually in this moment? You know, how often are you not listening to another song or hearing someone talk or working on something or thinking about something? How often are you right here? Like I haven't even been here this whole podcast. Now I'm like, okay, I'm here now, you know? Like you forget that you're actually a human being living because there's so much stimuli, you know? Like even like obviously TikTok and our phones and stuff, but you can just be in on the phone for hours, you know, and all of a sudden it's 10 p.m. and you're like, where'd the day go? Was it on my phone, you know, like it's crazy.
Even like going past our physical health, like what is that doing to the like to the meaning, to each individual person's meaning of life? If all that you're doing is either consuming someone else's life, because that's really
Mhm.
kind of what everybody has almost become their own reality show in
Mhm.
a way, or creating a reality show for other people to watch, and then you never
Right.
really truly live your own life.
No, absolutely. And it's weird how many people like think of themselves as almost influencers of their friend groups, right? Like you're like, you know, you have 1,000 followers on Instagram, you know, 100 of them or whatever, and like you're like, I have to post my day every day to show my followers what I'm doing. It's like, well, they're not your followers, they're your friends from college and high school. You don't need to update them all the time. You know, it's like we've all become influencers. We want to influence and show what we're doing and show off lives and show and like we live in the internet. We live 100% in the internet. You know, it's like I barely live here. Even my job, my full-time career is in the internet, you know? So it's like I wake up, have my coffee, enter the internet, you know, and it's like what does that do to my mental health, to everyone else's mental health? Like what is that doing to us on a long term? I can't even tell you, you know?
Yeah. And at some point, too, I mean, just thinking about it from a very long term perspective, our generation and especially the generation before, like they could literally document their whole life on the internet. And then at what point does a person true or is a person like truly gone? Right. Because if you think about it, like people that have existed in the past that like we know maybe they've written things and that's kind of
Mhm.
like keeping them alive somewhat. But if you could literally like watch Abraham Lincoln give the Emancipation
Yeah,
Proclamation, is he truly gone? Like that,
right.
it's to me, if you can see them, if you can in some ways almost like feel that like what it must have been like to really truly be there and you're almost like truly in their presence. And especially as we can like even continue to develop with like holograms and that sort of thing and like that could almost like be in the same room with you. It
Mhm.
almost seems like that's a sense of like immortality too.
Mhm. I have companies reaching out to me who want to make like AI bots or AI versions of me. So I mean, I can have people that can interact with AI versions of me. And I'm like weird about it. Like I don't think I want people interacting with AI versions of me. I don't know what that is, you know. And it's weird that we're already at a place where it's like, oh, that's kind of possible. It's kind of possible for someone to create something that speaks like me and sounds like me and looks like me And that could be something. It's weird that, like, okay, it's already happening. We're here, like, what is that? What does a year from now even look like? We used to talk about 10 years, 20 years, oh, self-driving cars. Like, yo, Teslas drive by themselves constantly outside, and I'm seeing AI people on TikTok. So it's like we're there. We're at this place where we were talking about a year ago.
Yeah. And it's like also with the bots thing, at what point does that become you too? Like at what point does someone not even know the difference? At what point does that bot that like has maybe your face and your voice say
Right.
something that is like you would never say, or that you don't agree with, or
Right.
like isn't backed by what education or information you know? It's
Right.
such like a weird kind of thing because now you have like four bots that all look like you, that all have different, like in some ways, like their experiences through social media, like through the comments, what they hear, like that almost
Mhm.
becomes their own life experience. And now like it's a completely different person, but it looks like you.
It is bizarre, man. It doesn't even make sense, like how, like I said, I don't even know what that does, what that means. I don't know. All I can do is try to help people be healthy still. Like I have to ignore all that. I mean, you have to optimize for life. You have to always optimize for life and what sustains life and what's good for life. And I think what's difficult with AI or robots or all this stuff is that, like, it can really take over some of the things we don't want to do, right? In a real helpful way. Actually, these things can actually be helpful and help us with things. We use AI in my business constantly for data analytics and for even creating images and creating text, and like we're using it. We use it on a day-to-day basis because it's very helpful. It's radically changed how we are able to perform on a day, right? Because now we have this intelligence that can just help us with day-to-day tasks. So it's great. But then it's like, okay, and people talk about like whatever, like losing jobs or whatever. Like, okay, well, no one was doing the job to start with. It was just, we didn't fire someone to use AI. We're just integrating it. So I think if you integrate it and use it, it can be super helpful. But you still can't forget that, like, you have to go to the gym. You have to eat correctly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no matter how much AI we have, yes, maybe an AI doctor can keep you alive with a, AI pharmacist, and like whatever you eat and drink, it's analyzing your blood and giving you injections of things. I mean, that's a reality that's possible. Is that a good one? No. I don't want to be hooked up to an AI doctor and constantly injecting me with things. I want to be able to live and work out and enjoy the sunlight. So optimize for life. Make sure that whatever you do in your own life is where you want to be headed for your life.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I have this feeling of I love the struggle of like health sometimes, like knowing that if I don't do it, I'm getting worse. But if I do it, like it's empowering me and I'm getting
Yeah.
healthier and I'm getting better and all that kind of stuff. It's like that struggle of it. But then I
Mhm.
know too, like in the future, maybe there won't be that struggle for that. Maybe it'll be so basic and so simple that
Mhm.
it'll literally be kind of like you're saying, something that micro robots are in your bloodstream making
Right.
everything work well, and all you have to do is just sit there and watch Netflix all day and you're going to have a six pack. To me,
Right.
that's a scarier world than the world that we live in now when we do have all these health problems, but at
Mhm.
least it's kind of like still within our grasp to have control, and have like a road on our own destiny and like have power over that. Like if I think having the ability to like derail is almost the most beautiful thing for some reason, because you know that like if you don't do it, it makes you
Right.
feel good.
Oh, absolutely. You feel the best when you actually earn something. If you're, I mean, we all have, we know people who are like children of rich people, right? Really, really rich kids, like just like the richest of the rich. And like, it's like, well, I'm not impressed that you have money. I'm impressed that, it's cool that you live your life or whatever you do. Maybe they have a yacht or a plane, or like, that's dope. Like, heck yeah, dude, you got a yacht, but you didn't earn it. And I'm not impressed with your yacht, and you did not create this thing, but you're a rich kid and it's great. So in the same way, it's like, well, you could have robots in your blood that make you healthy all the time, and like that's cool. And like, Dave's got a six pack and he eats like crap all the time. That's cool. But I'm not impressed by Dave. I'm not like, wow, Dave is doing something smart. I actually think he's kind of dumb for doing that. I can't tell you why it's dumb. He looks better than me. He's in more shape. He eats whatever he wants. His blood is perfect. Why am I against that? I don't know, but I am. And I think we can feel that. We can feel, yeah, it's just probably not. I just don't want to be Dave. That's it. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to be the guy with robots in my blood. That's just it.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think there's some kind of level of like we want to be able to like almost rank things, right? Like, oh, this must be the best person because they have the best this, or they must
Yeah.
be a smart person because they have a great, company or whatever that kind of analytical thing is in our brain. I think we just want to like be able to figure out a little bit too, like who we want to be with, like who do we want to align with?
100%. And you said something I think interesting about just the way we view, I think like influencers or people online or whatever. Like I'll use the Liver King as an example. A lot of people love him, right? All of it, like he's great. Oh my gosh, he's the Liver King. You know, he can do no wrong. And then all of a sudden, you know, the whole steroid SARMs thing comes out, and yeah, he's taking this stuff, and then okay, he loses a decent majority of people to start with because they're upset about that or whatever. But the messaging of the Liver King never changed, right? Eat good liver, work out, get sunlight. The messaging never changed. But one thing about his life came out that ruined the brand, ruined the Liver King, right? Because like you said, we want to see people as our idols, as our complete, like the perfect idol. And prior to TikTok and prior to the immediacy of the internet, any idol could be an idol. You could make anybody in your head like, oh man, Jerry Seinfeld's the funniest comedian in the whole world. Like Seinfeld's hilarious. Like he's crushing it. He could do no wrong, And then you find out some stuff about him in the news. Like, well, that couldn't be Jerry, And it's like, but we've made, of course it could be him. We've made an idol out of this person. So now we have a much shorter cycle of that where it's like, before you had to kind of get famous and then be famous and people would love you. And then you had this whole thing and then you had one problem and then you kind of went through that chaos where now it's like people will see you online. They'll see two of your videos or two of your podcasts or whatever. And they're like, wow, everything this guy says is awesome. I love everything the Weight Room Podcast has. It's so, so good. And all of a sudden you say one thing that might not even have to do with anything. It might be like, oh, I think that, trying to keep it really not controversial. It's hard to not be controversial, but something stupid like I think there should be, I think less trees in the suburbs, and someone's like, "Fuck you! You think there should be less trees? This guy hates trees." And everything you've ever said, they tune off and they hate you now, right? Because it's like you have one thing they don't agree with. So it's like now all of a sudden, are we supposed to all be in agreement constantly? No, we're supposed to all disagree constantly. That's how we advance and make things better and discuss. So it's like if you have someone you like online or you think of someone highly, it's okay to compartmentalize the things that they say that are good and you like, things that you don't agree with and you don't like. That's okay to have two different things and still respect somebody. I had to get on that tangent because you said like we idolize people and then it falls apart. It's like, oh my God, this is horrible. I can't ever follow him again. Yeah, you can. It's just don't listen to everything everyone says.
Are you looking for a supplement company that can help take your fitness game to the next level? Look no further than All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Their cutting-edge supplements are scientifically formulated to give you the edge you need in the gym and in life. Whether you're looking to build muscle, increase endurance, or boost recovery time, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has you covered. And with a wide range of products designed for people of all levels, you're sure to find the perfect supplement for your needs. So why wait? Give your body the support it deserves with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit their website today to learn more and start achieving your fitness goals. It's so weird, the interconnectedness, the immediacy, the everybody like privacy is gone. People like know exactly where you are, with the tracking, they know what you're doing, they know what you're thinking via, tweets and this and that and Facebook. They know what you're eating, like everything. There's no privacy. And I think it's just so it's just like it almost feels like a ticking time bomb in terms of like how much more can we put out there before people are just like it feels like when people were like super proud that they had like 10,000 channels on like satellite TV, right? It's like, oh, I get 10,000 channels now, but now it's kind of like going in the reverse of like, oh, I really only watch 4 shows again. So it feels like to me, it almost like social media is going to hit that point sometime.
No, so that's what it is. We have 10,000 channels and we only watch 2 of them. Like literally, that's literally what's happening right now. You know what I mean? And like, not only do we have 10,000 channels, but like most of them are making things that we don't agree with. We dislike most of what's on TV or what's most of on social media. Like us individuals dislike most of what we see, right? It's like it's the hate and the anger that fuels so much of the content. You know, it's like on TikTok, my best content is whenever I start with something super like controversial or super inflammatory or super ridiculous. Because what it does is like, first of all, it drives the watch time, because what TikTok is looking for is someone watching this, right? If they're not watching it, you're not going to show it to anybody. Is someone watching it, and then once they start watching it, do they engage with it? That's the question. So the content you're being shown on TikTok is not necessarily content that you will like, it's content you will engage with, right? That's the most important thing for TikTok. So they will show you things that you may vehemently disagree with to get you to engage with that content, so that it can then foster conversation and foster more engagement, right? So it's like, we have these machines, talk about AI, we have these machines that are deciding what to show you, right? That's like, let's extrapolate that for a second. We have this algorithm that knows you so well and is not showing you the best content or the most benevolent content or the most helpful content. It's geared to show you what you will engage with. Okay, that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Just to think about what the ramifications of content I will engage with. Not just me, not just you, but everybody. Every single person on TikTok is getting content that they will engage with. That's crazy, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of it's like the old school of the rating system, and this show gets kept on the air, but everybody's still on the air, but nobody, 98% of people aren't actually getting watched by anybody.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
I
mean, dude, if you talk about like even like the Pareto distribution, right? 80-20. I don't know if you've heard of Pareto, but like everything is 80-20. The 20% does the 80%, right? So the top 20% of creators are just doing 80% of all the content on TikTok, right? And you can keep Paretoing that. So the top 20% of those 20% is doing 80% of that. And like you get all the way down, and there's literally like 5 or 6 non-controversial giant creators, right? Like you're talking like Dwayne Johnson, we're talking like Addison Rae, like the people that have just been on TikTok and just kind of always been on TikTok. Livy Dunn, right? You think of Livy. There's no controversy with Livy, right? Just looks great on TikTok. That's how it is. That's her whole brand, right? Everyone loves her. Well, it's because we have 7 people that we love, and then hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people showing their reality show of their life, showing that all their stuff, and no one's watching it. It's the most bizarre time in the whole world. It's insane.
Right. To get back to
yeah,
the health side of things, because I think it is all tied together. I think it's a very
Yes.
conversation without a doubt. But get into like kind of a little bit about how you actually got interested in this side of the world that most people never get interested in.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I was just totally burned out. Like I got all the way to the end of my rope. I was working for a company called Fox Sports. We did like the football and the MLS and all that kind of stuff. And I was just so burnt out. I was so tired of my job. I was so tired of what I did. And this is kind of during COVID, a little bit, kind of started COVID, middle COVID. I ended up basically leaving. And what happened was I was so tired, so stressed. Somebody gave me like some CBD to try. I never tried CBD before. Try the CBD, felt relaxed. It's like, wow, whatever this is something. And then it was kind of like, okay, first of all, why have I never heard of this? Why have I never used this if it works so well? And like, why isn't everyone using it? And it kind of began this journey of research to learn about plant-based medicines and, holistic approaches to life and magnesium and turmeric and all these things. And, what I found out was that a lot of people like, they either have a huge bias against CBD, or they have a complete misunderstanding of what these things are, these plant-based cannabinoids and extracts are. So it just became like a thing where I was like, listen, this is so clearly effective for me, and my mom takes it, my dad takes it, I give it to everyone now, right? It's so effective for everyone that uses it. I have to tell more people about it. It's kind of just always been the mission, it's just trying to show people, look, if you just take this, and I don't mean everyone's CBD. I don't know. Like I've tried bad CBD. I've tried bad products, but good products, good stuff, it works. And that's just become the mission,
Was that learning and educational period for you, was that something that you feel like was kind of a part of like an intentional journey that you were taking, or was it more of like, oh, I kind of learned this and then I'm kind of just, continuing with my life and then I learn a little bit more. Like, what was that for you?
I mean, it became really intentional when I decided to start selling it. Like for me, it was like, okay, I can't. So in 2015, CBS News Austin had a report where they went and they bought like every CBD company they could find. They just bought all of them and they sent them all to a lab to test all of them. And they found that over 70% of all of the available brands were either selling contaminated oil, fake oil, or oil with like the wrong potency. So basically, 70% of all CBD was garbage at this time, 2015. And I was like, okay, the problem with that is that there's so much runway now to try to A, win back customers who were burned by bad CBD, and B, try to get ahead of the narrative of like it's all weed, it's all surfer brand, it's all like bad for you, you know. So USA Medical was the company that I, created and was born from this because it was like, listen, I want this to be a medical feel. I want this to like, we are trying to solve problems. We are trying to stop cancer, trying to stop glaucoma, Huntington's, IBD and IBS, rheumatoid arthritis. Like these are real conditions that people are suffering and often dying from, right? So if I'm taking that on, I don't want this to be like a surfer brand. I want this to be medical. I want this to be research backed. I want this to have validity to it, So to answer your question, yes, it became very intentional once I launched the company because it had to be very intentional.
What was the struggle for you to kind of get in there and figure out the research and be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is kind of what it's saying. This is what I'm kind of interpreting it as. And then also along those same lines, how have you seen the research grow and maybe
Yeah,
not necessarily change, but maybe has it changed at all, or have you seen like
absolutely.
an evolution in how they're being researched and things like that?
Absolutely. 3 years ago, I also 3 years ago, I was really bought into what you would say is like general science, general expertise, what the narrative is. I had no problem with, seed oils. I had no problem with non-grass fed food. I had no problem with farm raised fish. Like all these things I just, had never thought about. So it was the learning about the CBD process and the learning about the differences in the creation of isolate versus broad spectrum versus full spectrum, hemp versus cannabis, supercritical CO2 extraction versus like solvent based and chemical extraction, like all these different things. I have to know all this stuff. And then what it taught me is that in everything, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. In everything, you can make anything the right way or make it the wrong way, and you'll get this. You'll get something. You'll get CBD at the end of the wrong process, but it's the wrong process, and it has crap in it, and has problems with it. So for me, it became okay. What's the right way to do this? What's the correct way to do this? Okay, that makes sense. Oh, what's the correct way to do everything? Okay, and now like trying to figure that out, and I'm still on that journey of what's the correct way to do everything. But starting with vitamins and supplements, like, dude, it's like don't put junk in it. Don't add fillers. Don't add garbage. Don't add solvents and chemicals. Do it organic. Do it natural. It's pretty much that simple. You know what I mean? But most companies don't follow those tenets.
Yeah, and I was watching one of your pieces of content about how, big companies have this need to continue to make more and more money. And so to me,
Especially if they're public. Yeah.
right. And to me, it's fascinating how in this country when things are seemingly transparent, seemingly
Mm-hmm.
above board, like you would think like, okay, I'm going to the store to buy something, like, okay, it's on a
Mm-hmm.
shelf. I know what this like I know I'm going to XYZ store that I've been to a million times.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it almost seems like it's crazy to think that what they say is in it, or the claims that they make
Mm-hmm.
could just be lies, like or
Oh yeah, blatantly.
or
Yeah.
or just left out. Like that's another
Right.
big thing, is just like leaving out putting it in the fine details. Oh, it
Mm-hmm.
also has this in it. Okay, these are America's brands. These are
Mm-hmm.
what everybody's using. They must be great.
Right.
Scientifically proven, FDA
Right.
approved, all this stuff that you
FDA approved.
see,
Yeah.
and then you just start to learn more and more, and it feels almost like, in my experience, initially it feels so it's like
Sad.
it's sad. It's like you're in this black
Yeah.
hole of like, I can't believe that this is what people
Yeah.
on a mass scale are doing, and then
Mm-hmm.
also wondering why we're in such a bad place with our health,
Mm-hmm.
not just in our weight, side of things, but in why are so many people, like you said, having these issues of, IBS or
Mhm.
any kind of digestive issue or any kind of like cellular DNA issues or all these
Mhm.
kind of things that we think, oh, it's just, it's bad
Yeah.
luck or it's genes or it's this or it's that or it's part of being a human. It's just like this dark rabbit hole of why is all this stuff
Mhm.
so dark?
Well, yeah, dude, the dark rabbit hole is this, it's this pit that there's so many like facts that would shatter people's beliefs on things that everyone stays away from, because like the moment you start down that dark rabbit hole, it just gets worse and worse, you know? Like I'm going to hit you with three facts real quick. One, over 20 different brands of sunscreen have been pulled from the shelves since 2020 for definitively causing cancer. Definitively, they cause cancer. This is 2020. Now they say they're all better. They're all better. All the ones on the shelves are way better now. Okay. Number two is that before 1970, there were almost zero peanut allergies. There were very, 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 very little cases of peanut allergies, right? All of a sudden, 1970, we start seeing glyphosate used in all of the cotton crops that rotate the peanut crops. And all of a sudden, everyone is allergic to peanuts. That's number two. And number three, I told you about the Pareto distribution, 80%, 20% Pareto. 80% of all corn in the United States is what's called Roundup Ready corn. Roundup Ready corn is a specific GMO that was created by a company called Monsanto. Bayer and Monsanto is the company now. The reason they created it is so that they could use Roundup. Roundup is the chemical pesticide that kills things. The problem is, it kills everything. It kills bugs, it kills plants, it kills litter. That's the point. It's a horrible pesticide. So they created the GMO corn that they could just spray Roundup over the whole field, kill everything, and the corn won't be affected by it. It's Roundup Ready corn, won't be hurt by it. But the Roundup stays on the corn kernels in the corn, right? And now all of a sudden we have all kinds of other allergies. We have gluten sensitivities and we have, this and that, right? So it's just three quick things, from cancer from sunscreen, peanut allergies from peanuts, and Roundup Ready corn with chemicals all over it. And that's three of the most obvious basic things. That's not even conspiracy land, So it's like, oh my God, it's a dark rabbit hole.
Yeah, and you mentioned conspiracy land, and it's crazy how many things are no longer conspiracy like
Yeah.
thought of as conspiracies. It's well known, and it's still not well known. It's still not
Exactly.
thought of as this is important. Like
Mm-hmm.
we were actually talking about that today at work is peanut allergies and like, oh, it seems like there's so many kids that have it, and seems like it's
Mm-hmm.
only getting worse, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's only a matter of time until like at what point can people like no longer even interact with their environment anymore? Like literally,
Yeah.
will we have to live in bubbles?
Right.
Just
Right. And we're
it's
seeing
crazy.
a lot of people who are immunocompromised. That word came out pretty recently. You didn't hear that a lot before the pandemic. But anyways, people who are actually immunocompromised, people who have weakened immune systems, right? A lot of people. I know multiple people who label themselves immunocompromised. That's very interesting. That all of a sudden we have lots of people who verifiably have weak immune systems. What is that? I mean, that's like, I don't want to say like you're destined for bad things, but if your immune system doesn't work, that's not good. You know what I mean? Whatever's causing that should be our number one concern right now. We should be figuring out why people are not healthy, Why are immune systems not working anymore? They worked for a while, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of human years. Like all of a sudden they're not working? Something's wrong.
When you think like all of this stuff that we're talking about right now, and what people are so distracted by is like, how can I lose my last 5 pounds? Or is
Yeah.
keto the best diet?
Yeah.
Or, there's so much more important issues out there that it's like all this is like a huge distraction. And you mentioned that Roundup Ready corn, and I was listening to something the other day, and I don't want to speak on the truth to this, but I did hear it. I will say that
Mm-hmm.
I can't validate this, but they were talking about McDonald's potatoes that
Mm.
a specific type of potato that they
Yep.
have basically formulated that puts I think they spray something on it that makes them like not have the divots or have the brown spots or
Mm-hmm.
black spots or whatever, and that has been known to be like linked to cancer. And then
Mm-hmm.
who knows that? No one. We all love what's your favorite fry? Oh,
Yeah.
McDonald's fries. Everybody likes McDonald's fries, but nobody
Yeah.
knows that it has this thing about it.
Well, like the fries at McDonald's don't brown. They don't. If you fry them, they don't turn brown, right? Like you know how you if you cut up a potato and you fry it, and at home it'll like one part will be like a little black, one part will be like a dark brown. Like McDonald's fries don't do that, right? Because they're not allowed to. Like legally, the browning is what the government says causes cancer. So you can't allow the potatoes to brown. So they've created GMO'd potatoes that don't brown. Okay, but like you said, what's the consequence of that? I know we're stopping the one consequence, but what's the other consequence? You know, because everything has consequences. So you're completely right. We do these things that are supposed to be good, but then they cause more problems, you know? And we don't talk about those problems.
How much of like an issue was the legal side of things and the getting this kind of approved side of things? Like what is the kind of the backgrounds and behind the scenes of that, especially working with a product that people are going to be putting in their body?
Fantastic question. I have great news and I have horrible news for you. The great news is that literally anybody can start a vitamin company right now. That's also the bad news, okay? Because there are literally, and I mean this, for me and for every other vitamin brand, for every other one on the shelves, there's no regulations, there's no laws, the absolute Wild West. It's the absolute Wild West. I could put anything in this bottle and put any label on it and sell it to you. No one's checking me. Nobody's checking me. And if you want to go get a lab test done, you can do that. They cost $800 per test. You know what I mean? So you can go do that. But are you doing that with all of your vitamins on the shelf? No. So you're just trusting that the company that's creating it is doing their homework and they're doing their lab tests and they're doing all that. Well, maybe they are. My company was the first CBD brand to actually post public lab tests. We were the first company to do that on our website, have big lab tests to show this is what you're getting. Scan the QR code, look at the sign test from the Sign Lab Tech. This is what's in it. And all of a sudden, other companies started doing that, which is great. I'm happy that we kind of started this trend of lab testing. But a lot of companies will say lab tested or, lab certified, but then they won't post the results. Okay, you're just saying lab tested. You're just saying lab certified. And it probably was lab tested and it probably failed. It probably failed the lead test or it failed the mercury test or it failed one of those tests and you're still selling it, saying it's lab tested because it is lab tested, just failed, So that's the answer, is that there are literally no regulations. So the only way that you can be certain that you're getting a safe quality brand is if that brand shows you their tests and shows you their data, because otherwise there's no transparency.
Wow. I've never really even thought about that. Like I've seen like lab tests and stuff. I've just always assumed, okay, well, if it's lab tested, it must be like a good score, right? I mean, it's funny.
Might have just failed the lab test.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's interesting. Being in the industry, what do you think is the reason for that still allowing that Wild West? Like, do you feel like there's a bigger reason for that?
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout. Looking for a supplement company that's as serious about your fitness goals as you are? All Sport Pharmaceuticals is here to help. Their top-of-the-line supplements are designed to help you get the most out of every workout with ingredients that have been scientifically proven to enhance performance and recovery. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting out on your fitness journey, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has the perfect supplements to help you achieve your goals. Plus, with their commitment to quality and safety, you can trust that you're getting a product that's both effective and reliable. So what are you waiting for? Take your fitness game to the next level with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit the website today to learn more.
Yes. So part one of that answer is that the pharmaceutical industry has always been the heavily regulated one. And the reason for that is because the government and the FDA wants you to be able to trust that pharmaceuticals are regulated, making them good, correct, right? So when you are written a prescription from the doctor, you're supposed to get that filled because that's a pharmaceutical. We've done our homework. We've done trials. Part of that is, a bit of propaganda in the sense that because it's that way, it must be that way. Because we do all the work to make sure pharmaceuticals are good, you shouldn't use holistic plant-based medicine. You should, because these are untested. The FDA does not approve. These are not FDA approved, right? Every bottle that you ever buy of any company is not FDA approved, right? The FDA has not approved this product for blah, blah, blah. Any protein powder, any vitamin, any supplement, not FDA approved. That way, the FDA approved drugs. Oh, well, if the FDA approved it, it must be good for me. Of course, this, Dilaudid I should be taking. I don't know, like whatever. Of course, this Percocet's good for me, right? The FDA approved it. Okay, that's kind of part one, just to have the FDA approval on it. Part two is that, America is a capitalist society. We've always been capitalist. We're able just to buy and sell and trade. And part of the free market is that I can go buy CBD, I can go buy, hemp from a company, and I can resell it. I can do that. There's no problem with that, right? Or I can start my own hemp farm and grow hemp and then, cultivate it and then sell that hemp, or, you can do any part of it. So that's good. It's good that you can do any part of it. The bad thing is that there just is no regulation. There just is no way to regulate it. There's just not. If you're going to allow a free market, if you're going to allow anyone to be able to sell anything, how could you regulate that? So it's kind of the catch-22 double-edged sword here, where it's good that anyone can sell things in a free market. It's bad that anyone can sell things and say anything about it. And there is no, legal checks and balances for any of these companies at all. For instance, real quick, a company called, I forget their name. That's probably for the best. A CBD company, a really large one. Last October, we did a whole article on this, so it's on my site. But they were caught selling contaminated CBD. They're a huge brand. They were caught selling contaminated CBD with massive doses of THC in them by accident. Whatever. They either didn't lab test or failed the lab test, and so because how did a batch of CBD get THC in it? Well, they either failed or lied, right? Either way. The FDA came in and said, well, this is a huge problem. We're going to fine you. We have to fine you. And they fined them $200,000. Whoa, big fine, right? Well, not when they're making $32 million a month, right? This company's making $32 million a month and they get fined $200,000 for completely failing and lying about lab tests. Come on, so that's just where we're at. It's the only person who can decide whether or not something is safe and good to take is you, which sucks. There is no responsibility in these companies. It's only your responsibility.
It's crazy whenever you really sit down and actually know what's going on, and not knowing who to possibly trust. And then you think you're getting a good product when you're seeing things like that are, okay, this is lab tested or this is FDA approved. Either way, when you feel like you're getting duped like that, and then you don't know. And the same thing I think happens in health in general, and in fitness and in weight loss and in stuff like that. People are like, okay, I've hired this coach and they say that they're going to help me out, but then in 6 months I've gone nowhere and I've done what they told me to do. And that's, I think, a huge problem, and why people aren't taking more control of their health is they feel like they don't have any control over it.
Totally. No, 100%. And like you said, it's, you get slapped on the wrist once and they keep doing it. It's, there was a company, well, I guess I'll say, so with the FDA stuff, FDA approved products, sunscreen, it has to be FDA approved. It has to be. You can't sell a sunscreen that's not FDA approved. So how did there become so much benzene and how many cancer causing products in these sunscreens? How did that happen, FDA? If you're approving the products and then all of a sudden you pull them all from the shelves, Banana Boat, Copper Tone, Johnson & Johnson, Aveeno, Neutrogena, those are just 5 major brands that have all been pulled from the shelves, for definitively causing cancer, right? So it's even though we have the FDA, they aren't doing their job, right? So again, it comes back to personal responsibility. What sucks is, like you said, people feel like they don't know how to be responsible. They don't know how to make health make sense, because it's all so confusing, and it's intentionally confusing. It is made intentionally. It's like TurboTax. TurboTax has lobbyists who intentionally make tax code confusing so that you have to buy TurboTax, right? That happens every year, and we don't riot. I mean, you want to riot in the street? Let's go riot about that. Why is TurboTax making our tax laws so hard? Let's go riot about that. But anyways, the fact that we have these companies that make health difficult, or gurus or coaches that make health difficult, and you can only do health with me, oh my God, and you can never figure it out by yourself. You have to talk to me every single week for $1,000 to be able to figure out health. It's no, Health is simple. Health is like, what is natural? What is organic? What makes sense? That's health. Like ask yourself at any given point, what's better? If I sit on the couch, watch Cheetos and or eat Cheetos, watch TV, or do some yoga, breath work, Oh, probably the yoga and the breath work. Okay, should I have a grass-fed organic steak or should I have Taco Bell? Probably the grass-fed organic steak. Like, it's obvious. It's so obvious. If you just start doing the obviously better thing, health is easy.
Some of the stuff that you talk about on your social media platforms is like something as basic as getting out into the sun and exposing your eyes to sunlight and taking your shoes off and walking around or just standing. It's like getting sleep. Those basic human things that 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, even were so like, okay, that's common. Everybody in the summer used to run around with their shoes off, right?
Seriously,
I remember it as a kid, but
it's for safety now, right? Well, there could be a nail on the ground, so we had to put kids in shoes. Oh, well, there could be a bad person out there, so keep the kids inside. Oh, well, the sun causes cancer now, so we don't get sunlight, stay inside. Oh, this, it's like, oh my God, like how far have we strayed from just literally kids playing out on the lawn? And also, you and I mean, we didn't have PS5s and stuff, right? Like, I had to go play on the lawn. Me and my friends had a Frisbee, and that was our 4-hour event, was throwing a Frisbee around. You know what I mean? Like, go down a slip and slide, like that was what we did. We took our shoes and shirt off and we run around and we had fun and we played. Now you're on your iPad inside all day. So it is wildly different from even just 20 years ago.
Fitness is not anything special. It's literally just like being a human being and not harming your body, like not putting crap in your body, moving your body, getting good sleep. It's like, that's all fitness is, but we have to have a name behind it. There has to be like marketing behind it. There has to be, all this stuff behind it in order for people to get behind it.
100%. It has to have a name. Like you said, it has to have something. It's just, hey, what if you were just healthy? What if you didn't do the keto diet and you just didn't eat like crap? What if you didn't do, what's it called, F45 every day and you just lifted some weights? What if you didn't? And people feel like they have to be a health guru now, right? The moment you become healthy, the moment you're not just like a regular person, the moment you care about health, now you're posting on Instagram, you're taking gym selfies, you're like, every day is meaningful. You're doing these, like, you're saying quotes and stuff. It's like, well, you can just be healthy. You don't need to like broadcast that either. And it's good. It's good. Listen, I'm not saying it's bad to broadcast being healthy, but like, don't let health be performative. Just be healthy. Just literally be healthy, and that's all you have to do. It will be performative. People will see the effects of that if you're just honest and healthy. You don't have to perform health, because everyone has their own plan, right? Everyone has their own thing, the thing you have to do. Oh my God, I eat kimchi and I drink, a shot of cayenne pepper every single morning. People are like, oh my God, I have to do that every single day. Well, if that works for you, great, but don't tell all of your friends they have to do that, because they don't. Like, I keep saying, like, when I talk to people on any kind of call, whether it's just a free chat or a coaching call or whatever, like, the point of it is for me to figure out your life and how we can integrate health into your life. I think a good coach or a good, doctor or a good therapist, the goal is not to like give you a plan. That's like a health guru, right? I have this 60-day plan to make you healthy, right? That's a guru. That's a scam. 60-day plan to make you healthy. That's not real, right? What's real is, let me listen to you. Let me hear about your life and then give you the simplest, easiest way to start making your life healthier. That's it. That's all life is. And whether you want to work with a coach or not, like, write down the things you want. Like, this is how we started the episode. Just write down the things you want. Write down your goals. I want to be in the gym 5 times a week. I want to weigh 160. I want to be this, and this. And then just start chomping away at it, right? How do you eat an elephant? You eat one bite at a time, right? You can't eat the whole thing in one serving. So just start chomping away at it bit by bit. And most importantly, keep it easy. If you're overwhelmed, back off. That's not what health is supposed to be.
What do you feel like when people do come to you and you try to like lay out here's the basics, right? What do you feel like when you say that? What are people most surprised by? Like, oh, I didn't even ever take into consideration, or I didn't even realize that had to do with my health. Like, what are some of the biggest things on that?
I mean, the big 3, and there's probably 5, but the big 3 is water, sunlight, and sleep. And then the other 2 would be like protein, and like plant-based supplements, because I always bring that in. But like if you're not drinking enough water, your body's made up of 67% water, right? Like most of your body is water. Every one of your cells needs water. If your cells are fatigued, you are fatigued, and your body won't perform properly. I think there was a study done by the Journal of Nutrition a couple years ago where it was like it was like 10 or 20% self fatigue, whatever, like a very early stage of self fatigue from not having enough water leads to like incredible memory loss, incredible brain fog. Like if you're not hydrated, you can't think. It's that simple, right? If you don't get enough sunlight, your body does not make enough vitamin D. It's that simple. You need vitamin D for so many different things. Vitamin D is a hormone. It's not a vitamin. I wish we didn't call it vitamin D, but vitamin D is a hormone. You need sunlight to make it, right? You can get it over the counter. You can get it in mushrooms and all this, but it's a different kind of vitamin D. Your body makes chlorocalciferol, right? That's a different kind than the D2 or the D3 you get synthetically. Your body just needs to make it. I don't care how many vitamin D3 pills you take. You need to get outside and get the sun to make it, right? For your immune system, for your thyroid, for all kinds of people everyone's hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, sunlight and iodine for that. And then for sleep, like I said, nobody sleeps well. Everyone's anxious, everyone's stressed, everyone's too hot, everyone has too much light. Like literally make it cold, make it dark, and relax. That's how you sleep. If your room is cold, if it's pitch black and you are relaxed, you'll sleep well. And like I said, the protein one is just everyone needs to eat more protein. We don't need enough protein. That's just kind of across the board for everybody. And then I always say CBG is amazing for just your brain, for energy, for focus. Magnesium, we all are. I mean, everyone's low in magnesium. If you're not taking a magnesium supplement, you're not getting enough. Like I don't know. That's like the flaw of life. It seems like there's not much magnesium in the food we eat, but we need lots of magnesium. So get magnesium. And then, things like ashwagandha or turmeric or, Ayurvedic medicine stuff, like these are all helpful tools. I'm not saying everyone needs to be on them or everyone needs to be taking turmeric, but like have them in your tool belt and use them if you need them,
Yeah. And just being aware that that's a thing too, I think that's the first step. You don't have to have that brain fog. You don't have to be in pain, or you don't have to
right.
experience all those symptoms. There are things out there besides the extreme things that we do a lot of times.
100%.
Oftentimes are I need to come home and drink after work because I'm, too stressed, or I need to unwind and I have to do this and whatever it is. But yeah, sleep has been one of the biggest things for me here in the last couple of years. I have a Whoop strap, and it's,
Nice.
a huge tool in regards to not just like knowing how much sleep I get, but it reminds me every day that I need to take it serious. Having some kind of routine, is it just, I used to do Peloton sleep meditations before bed, and it was weird because the first few times actually I did that, it was just such an experience, almost an out of body experience. Now I don't know if it was just like this overwhelming sense of relaxation, if it was me like finally not thinking about anything else but being in the moment. I don't know what it was, but just that meditative state. I've never really done it before, but it was a pretty crazy thing that I experienced with that.
Real quickly on that is we've always thought that sleep stages happen kind of binarily. Like it started in like light sleep and then deep sleep and then REM sleep and then you wake up. That's kind of like the cycle of sleep. It's kind of what we thought. New data from Aura and from Whoop and all these different companies shows that's not really how it works at all. Like you're in and out of all kinds of stages throughout your night. And of course there's going to be periods where you're in deep sleep or periods in REM. But if you're meditating or if you're entering into a meditative state, a lot of times your brain will just jump into REM sleep. You'll just be in rapid eye movement quickly. And you can be in that like lucid meditative state, but also literally dreaming, and like kind of at the same time. So that makes sense where you're doing meditation and you're actually relaxed and you're actually in this great state and you kind of feel out of body and you feel kind of dreamy because that's what's happening, So like, it's like, yes, meditate. That's great. It's the best way to relax your mind, relax your central nervous system. If your CNS is all jacked up and you have stress and you have cortisol, you're just not going to get good sleep. Just not going to happen. If like, your body has a fight or flight response, right? And if you're in that response, if your brain senses danger, which before that meant like a lion was in your camp, but now it's like the danger of your boss yelling at you tomorrow morning if you're late. Like if it senses that danger, you won't sleep well, It's like it's weird. We have these weird metaphysical reactions to like stimuli that we can't even control, So like you said, meditation is a great way to just relax your body and brain.
It's been great getting to chat with you and kind of really discussing a lot of those in a lot of ways, and kind of getting some ideas and educating myself too. I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh man, thank you. I just want to say the best way you could have ended is that, like, do an audit of your life. Like, whoever you are, do an audit. Audit your water, audit your food, audit your habits. Just write it all down. When I say just like literally, like just write it all down and go from there. Like, visibility is so huge. So that's fantastic advice. And thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if you want to, before we head out, share, where people can follow you on social media, or they can find your business.
Sure. The company is USA Medical. So if you search that online, you'll find all of our stuff. It's USA Medical on TikTok. The website is usamedicalshop.com right now, but we're transitioning over to usamedical.com. There's always a transition happening. But yeah, it's if you search USA Medical, you will find me. My name is Jake Crossman.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.